Yeah, I got a way to do it. Do this. You come here. Whoop. And you come here. Zoop. Zoop. All right. Good enough.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So this is Dimetrodon.
This is mastodon right here.
Mm-hmm.
No mastodon right here.
No, that one there. Yep. Okay. A Petrolochosaurus hurried out onto a fallen log to warm himself in the sun. Through the leaves overhead, the early morning sun was shining. Petrolochosaurus had come to lie in the sun because it gave him energy. Suddenly, Petrolochosaurus saw something move in the short distance away. A leathery, sail-like fin came into sight. The fin belonged to one of the largest and most dangerous hunters, the Dimetrodon. At once, Petrolochosaurus dashed back into the dense undergrowth. Dimetrodon moved so that the warming rays of the sun shone on his sail. It was good to feel the sun warming his body. Soon he would be warm enough to go in search of food. Dimetrodon was hungry, and he wanted meat. Means he's a...
Dinosaur.
As the sun rose in the sky, its heat warmed Dimetrodon until he felt able to start hunting. Dimetrodon raised himself up on his powerful legs and walked off through the forest. As he walked, his feet slipped in the sticky mixture of mud and fallen leaves. It was always damp near the great delta, as it often rained. As Dimetrodon pushed his way through the plants, he kept a careful watch for any signs of life. He even saw a small K-Cops come out of the undergrowth. Even the small animal like this would make a tasty meal for Dimetrodon, but he did not attack it. He had attacked a K-Cops before, and that was when he had broken one of his teeth on the bony plates on K-Cops' back. He did not want to break another tooth, so he let K-Cops go. Unseen by either of the two animals, a tiny Cardiocephalus watched from the muddy pool. Oh, that one's Cardiocephalus. K-Cops. A loud scream echoed through the lush plants. An animal was in trouble. When an animal is hurt, it's easier to catch. Perhaps this meant an easy meal for Dimetrodon. With a burst of speed, Dimetrodon plodded toward the sound. Edaphosaurus was usually far too big for Dimetrodon to catch. However, it had become exhausted in the mud. Edaphosaurus would make a tasty, easy meal. Dimetrodon decided to wait. All the time the sun was getting hotter. Insects appeared, and soon the air was alive with buzzing flies, bugs, and dragonflies. Edaphosaurus continued to struggle in the mud. Suddenly it was pulled free, and Dimetrodon changed his mind about attacking it. Wading through the shallows, Edaphosaurus continued to search for tasty shellfish. An Ophiderpaton slid out of the mud. It hurried away from the hungry Edaphosaurus across the surface of the mud before tunneling down in search of water bugs. I think his tongue is sticking out and he's getting water bugs. Dimetrodon splashed along the edge of the smelly pond. The sun was high and in the sky now. As Dimetrodon plodded along, he noticed a new smell. It was the scent of fresh, clean water. Dimetrodon was thirsty. The new scent made him want to quench his thirst even more. He ran through the trees as fast as his legs would carry him. Soon he was out of the forest, and ahead of him were the shores of a wide lake. The sudden appearance of the fierce meat-eater frightened the lakeside creatures, and they ran for cover. A pair of K-Cops dashed along the shore. A Semoria hurried into the shrubs to hide. Much larger animals, like Eriops, waddled off toward the water where they felt safer. Soon all was quiet, and Dimetrodon walked down to the water's edge and drank the cool, clean, refreshing water. When Dimetrodon finished drinking, he looked around. The head of a few Eriops broke the surface of the lake. Otherwise, the only moving life was the insects flying through the air. The sun was very hot now. It was so hot that Dimetrodon began to feel uncomfortable and tired. He knew that he would have to find a shady place to rest until the air became cooler. Dimetrodon walked back to the edge of the forest and settled down under a clump of tree ferns. Dimetrodon dozed through the heat of the day, and insects whirred back and forth over as the Eriops splashed in the lake searching for fish. When the temperature began to drop, Dimetrodon stretched his legs. It would be cool enough for him to move again. Just then a cool breeze blew off the lake. Dimetrodon moved around so that his sail-like fin would catch the breeze and cool him more quickly. Suddenly, Dimetrodon heard loud footsteps behind him. There was something large moving just out of sight in the undergrowth. Dimetrodon poked his head through the leaves and saw a familiar sight of Diadactys. Diadactys looked hot and tired. It would not be able to run very fast. With a hungry roar, Dimetrodon ran through the undergrowth after the reptile. It saw Dimetrodon and began to run as fast as it could. The ground shook as the two reptiles lumbered along over the slippery, mud-covered leaves. Then ahead of Didactys there was a shallow, muddy pool. In his panic, the heavy reptile jumped into the pool, spraying mud and water everywhere. An animal, which had been feeding in the pool, scrambled out of the way as Dimetrodon charged in after Didactys. Didactys tried to struggle through the mud as far as the pool, to the far side of the pool, but his legs became stuck in the mud, and he did not have enough strength to pull himself free. Swiftly, the deadly jaws of Dimetrodon closed around the throat of Didactys, and the reptile breathed no more. Without moving from the pond, Dimetrodon tore at the carcass of Didactys. With his strong teeth, Dimetrodon tore great chunks of meat from the body. He gulped them down without even chewing. It was a long time before Dimetrodon had satisfied his hunger. Finally, Dimetrodon crawled to the edge of the pool and lay down to rest. The air was growing chilly as the sun went down. Dimetrodon found a place to lie down for the night. He would not need to hunt again for several days. The end.
Mom, I read this book.
Now, you sure you don't want to go for a nap? Do you want to try a nap now?
Read this